tried this a minute ago. That was not good enough.
Hit the music.
Are you ready, Dallas?
Yeah!
Are you ready to welcome the 7-time Women's WWE Champion onto the stage? Let's get her out here, ladies and gentlemen, Trish Stratus!
Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Trish.
You can continue.
Yeah, you can keep going. You can keep going. She's not opposed to this.
Hi guys. I think I've seen most of you guys so far today, right? Woo! Alright. Let's have a little chat.
Been to Dallas before? First time in Dallas?
No, many times.
Many times.
Has anyone seen me perform in Dallas?
Yeah.
Woo!
Finally, she's back in Dallas.
Finally.
Now, I always lead things off with a few questions, but we are here because of you, the
I thought you were going
fans.
to do a rock impression there.
Oh, I would not dare, because it might get somewhere online and then he would come after me.
Good thinking.
I don't want that man picking
Smart
me up
man.
and throwing me through the
Smart man.
We have a Q&A microphone set up right over here in this aisle if you want to start lining up. I've got some questions to kick things off. You need some time to think. This is your time to think.
Get your most satisfying and interesting questions. Okay? Get it gathered.
Were you a wrestling fan before you became a wrestler? Was this something that you were interested in? Was this something that had caught your attention, or were you new to wrestling when you got brought into it?
No, I grew up watching wrestling. I live in Toronto, grew up in Toronto, still living in Toronto. Woo!
No Maple Leaf.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob. Right? So wrestling, there was Maple Leaf Gardens, which is where wrestling took place, where they filmed it. So I got to see a lot of live wrestling events. I had 2 cousins that were boys, and I wanted to be part of the boys and hang with them. So we used to go to wrestling, we used to wrestle. So I grew up watching wrestling, and then even as I got older, me and my now current husband, he was my boyfriend at the time, we would go to wrestling shows, and we'd make trips out of it. We'd go to Florida, do a little trip and a little vacation, and go to wrestling down there. And so yeah, it's always been a part of my life.
When you found yourself thrust into the wrestling world, did you want to burst out of that valet role really, really quickly? I mean, it happened pretty fast for you. The more they gave you stuff to do, the more you immediately proved yourself, and it seemed like they were holding you back.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew what I was capable of doing in the ring because I'd been training on my own, not on my own, but, before I started wrestling, I had a little bit of a foundation training at a school called Sully's Gym, where Edge and Christian trained out of, right?
Yeah!
Gail Kim.
Yeah!
Tracy Brooks.
Yeah!
Yes. So I had trained there, I had really, a good foundation, and I knew what I was capable. And it was funny because I was the only girl when I went to the school, and, it was like a Rocky Balboa style gym, it was a boxing gym, it was like not a wrestling ring with the give, so it was just like hardcore, and I wrestled with the guys, and he's like, well, there's no other girls enrolled. I'm like, I'm fine. I was used to kind of being the tomboy, and I played rep level soccer, and I played field hockey for my varsity team in university, so I was kind of known as a bit of a goon when I played sports, so that was kind of my style, and so I took to it pretty quickly when I first started. And then, when I first went in, it was sort of like, I'd only been training for maybe 4 or 5 months at that point. But, I hadn't performed, so I'd done the basics, I wrestled in the ring, but performing is a whole other level, right? I never had a chance to perform in a show. So the first time I ever performed was in front of a live audience, and it came quickly, but there wasn't really much of an opportunity for women to do that. That's what we needed to do, or we wanted to do. I just
You
knew
had
that
to break that ground so that it was there.
I think so, and I think I just knew that, I think when we started to get more chances, I was like, I knew there was a chance to change the perception of what a woman could do in the ring, and that became my mission.
Now, whether you were a heel or a face, one of the things that throughout your career pre-retirement that you were really well known for was your comedic timing, just your timing in general, not just your mechanical work in the ring, but you and Chris Jericho had this improv comedy thing coming from the home of Second City in Toronto. I'm curious where that came from. Were you getting much from the writers, or were you really yes-ending and just having fun?
Yes-ending. You've done some improv. I like it.
1 or 2.
Yeah, you know what? I think I actually, during one of my injuries, I think it was, I'm going to say my thumb injury. I have to look at my body. See my thumb? Does it look weird? Can you see it? Okay. Which thumb do you think got dislocated? Oh wait, which knuckle is missing? Ew.
the price of 7 championships right there.
Right, that's championship hands right there. So I had this injury, I think it was that injury. I had some time off, so I went to Second City. I've been a fan of it my whole life. In Toronto, it's a big thing in Toronto as well. A lot of Canadian actors are from Second City, SCTV, that kind of, everyone watches SCTV, anybody? You guys?
John Candy.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I took some, and it was funny because I went in just as a student, and they're like, you're Trish Stratus, why are you in our class? It was kind of funny. And then they decided to put on this like Saturday Night Live style show. So basically I hosted the show in front of a live audience, did an opening monologue, and then the current cast of the theater joined me, and we actually put on some famous skits from SCTV, so that was kind of fun. So I had that background, but I think there's just something about Canadian humor. And we just click. I mean, me and, you guys here to see Beth Copeland, Beth Phoenix tomorrow?
Yeah!
Her hubby obviously is Adam, and he's a fellow knucklehead. And we just have this thing. Where it's either people either like it or they don't like it. But yeah, and it just worked when we were doing the thing.
You either watch Letterkenny or you don't.
Exactly, yes. And I think, to be honest, what happened originally, so obviously me and Christian became Trishtian. And we did not plan on being Tristan because we were supposed to be Tristopher, actually. So me and Jericho were actually supposed to, from all that's where, fans were waiting for that moment where Trish and Jericho finally got together, and that's what we thought we were working towards. And of course, you do your storylines, and not often nowadays anyway, they don't plan too far ahead. So it's kind of like your responsibility to plan as much as you can to sort of at least get some foreshadowing, some direction with your storylines unfolding. And that was the plan for Jericho and I to ultimately be together. And we were going to do this shtick, which had never been done before, female, male, doing their kind of thing. And then the day of WrestleMania, Vince McMahon comes in and he goes, we're going to do a little change tonight. Flipped it 180, we're like, what? No. So he flipped it, and obviously I turned heel that night, turned on Jericho, went with Christian. Turned out to be great, personally, for my career. The heel point was a great one for me, and that heel turn was fun. So, I think it's a Canadian thing with that thing where it's just like, you seem to have it too, it must be your Canadian girlfriend. He's got a Canadian girlfriend.
Maybe a little bit. Let's get some questions from you, the audience. I could keep talking.
Gabby is number 1. Hi, Gabby.
Hi. I made this.
I love it.
Because we should be the new tag team champions. So I made this. It says Gabby and Trish and has a WWE logo on it.
Oh my gosh, can you come up? Can we show this to everybody?
Sure.
Come on up, let's see this. Everybody, this is Gabby. Say hi to Gabby.
Hi.
She's 10 years old.
Gabby's wearing a Bailey shirt. I've got questions for Gabby about what she thinks about Bailey's heel turn.
Okay, now we're going to open up for Gabby for a second. Go ahead. What do you think?
What do you think of Bailey's heel turn? How do you feel?
I like it. I love the cut. I mean, I like the new theme song. It's pretty catchy, So, sorry. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Gabby and Trish, so what do you think our tag team name should be? Can anyone think of our tag team name? Think of something.
Trish.
Huh? Trish?
Travi.
Travi. Travi. I like it. Gabish. We're going to talk about how we gab away. We're talking gabish, which is like garbage to people. We're going to work on some stuff. I like it though. You want to see our pose though, guys? Yeah. We're working on it. Okay, let's do our pose.
7-second pose.
Get the countdown. Get ready.
Now for the benefit of those with flash
Best photography.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
A round of applause to Gabby. Thank you.
The road to her title reign begins tonight.
Tag team championships. That would be fun. What do you guys think? Yeah.
Next up.
Any ideas for a partner? I mean, besides Gabby, she's got to get a little older first, though.
Lita. Somebody immediately in the front row yelled, Lita.
Lita. Yeah. I mean, it's a natural choice, isn't it? I like it. All right. You're next.
Since he wouldn't do it, I will. Finally, Trish Stratus has come back to Dallas, Texas.
Woo! That was good. Thank you.
you pretty much your whole career in WWE, and I remember at a time when women's wrestling wasn't that really a big deal to them. What do you think the state of women's wrestling in general is now as opposed to when you started out?
It's everything we dreamed of, right? It really is everything that we imagined it could be one day. We saw the potential, and it's just finally come to fruition. Having, that many women wrestlers available, first of all, to represent the division. So much so that I had to come back and dip my toes into the current waters. It's like, I need a piece of that. It's incredible. It's been so great to watch it unfold. Amy and I we sat together and watched the girls' main event at WrestleMania. That was a huge moment for us. I'm actually getting goosebumps thinking about it, right? Legit. I'm so proud of the girls right now. They work so hard, and all of us, we've worked hard for 20 years, And so to see where we're at right now, I'm super proud. And when I see someone like Gabby come and she's a fan of everything we're doing, it's amazing. I can see we're making an impact, and as a woman, it's important to be a role model that someone like Gabby can look towards. So it's been really rewarding and humbling, and thank you for mentioning that.
No problem.
To follow up on that, Evolution, the all-women pay-per-view, how did that come together? How much insight did you have in terms of the way that it was getting booked, who they were bringing in? Were there any surprises for you on the night as to people who showed up?
Well, yeah, it was a huge surprise when I didn't fight with Alexa Bliss, right? We all know that. It was interesting the way they did it. I think they really were excited about doing this, all women's pay-per-view. We, of course, were excited as well. I don't know if they had the plan exactly laid out when they booked it, because originally it was supposed to be Alexa Bliss and myself facing each other, and then things changed and unfolded a different way. It ended up being Alicia Fox and Mickey and myself and Lita. And it was great though. It was great to be a part of that event. I would have had, I could have had that pass and not be part of it. It was great. And it was fun to get in there with Mickey James again. That was probably my favorite part.
Jumping ahead after that, we had, we were talking about this just a few minutes ago, this incredible match between you and Charlotte Flair. Do you feel like you're good leaving it there, or is the prospect of working with somebody who's currently out there something that could tempt you back into the ring? Is there